Oracle Cloud Procurement. Hi, my name's Scott Walls, and in this video, I'm going to introduce you to the Supplier Qualifications application in Oracle Cloud. So let's get started. Slide 1. What is the Supplier Qualifications application in Oracle Cloud ERP? The Supplier Qualification application automates self-service polling to solicit information from suppliers via a question or questionnaire type framework. It uses initiatives to qualify and or to assess suppliers with the results being stored at that supplier's record in Oracle Cloud. Slide 2. What types of supplier initiatives, different word here, can be created within Oracle Cloud ERP? Well, they can be qualification initiatives, so a bit more binary, yes, no, do you or do you not qualify? You see some examples here. Or they can be assessment initiatives. These are a bit more vague. They're usually scored, have a wider range of responses, are a bit more manual. So think supplier performance or an internal 360 supplier evaluation. Slide 3. Who creates initiatives within Oracle Cloud ERP? Well, initiators are as follows. Sourcing specialist might initiate qualification questions as part of the requirements on a negotiation. Requesters can initiate qualifications via supplier initiatives. For example, a PM that's looking at a new supplier or a supplier that did X and they may want to qualify them to do Y. A contract administrator might be qualifying a potential supplier as part of the contracting process via requirements. And then a supplier manager may just automatically qualify a new supplier, or you could actually use SQM itself in what they call a rule set to auto-initiate on a core set of qualifications. Slide 4. How are supplier qualification initiatives created in Oracle Cloud ERP? Well, first, you would probably want to take all these different questions and question groups and put them in a spreadsheet, A for naming and B to organize them. Then you would have the suppliers participate by using or answering questions that roll up into qualification areas. Look, the secret sauce usually here is to make sure that the questions roll up into the same area that they would be requalified later. That's usually what delineates these different areas. Then the qualification answers, or the question answers, will be stored on supplier fields. They usually break down into about 5 different types, and they're mapped to an attribute, as we said earlier, on the supplier profile. And then each of these potentially, if you had an assessment, you would have the different internal resources also weighing in on those different answers to score them, if you will. And then lastly, you have some level of accepting and reviewing those answers to the qualification questions before they go to the supplier change request, before they go to the supplier profile. But with that, please note that sometimes the answer to a poll when applied to the supplier profile can actually create a supplier change request that needs to be approved. Fun fact. Slide 5. When are supplier qualifications created in the Oracle Cloud ERP procurement process? So let's take a look at that process. First, requesters use catalogs to purchase pre-negotiated content. So they send the PO out and they get the content. But if there is no pre-negotiated content, then they'll use a non-catalog request to invoke sourcing services. And that means you may register the supplier. If you're registering a new supplier, particularly if it's government, you may qualify that supplier. Then of course you may contract, source, contract for the purchase, and then finally either catalog, so you do have pre-negotiated content, or go straight to a purchase order. So obviously this would be in the first step of the sourcing services process where you would qualify the supplier. Okay, lastly, what are the steps involved in creating a supplier qualification? Well, first you would plan, as you saw on the spreadsheet, the initiative. Second, you would create the questions that are going to go on that initiative. Then you would create the qualification areas. Then you may or may not create a qualification model Again, Linos, our ally, will explain this more when he goes into detail. You can find that course on Panameer.com. But you may create a model, particularly for your core qualifications. Then you may launch a supplier initiative. They may answer those questions, or what I call polls. Then the internal team will review and accept or not the answers to those qualification questions. And then that qualification has a final evaluation, and that evaluation may actually trigger sourcing eligibility or eligibility for that supplier. Okay, that's an introduction to the supplier qualification application in Oracle Cloud. Have questions? Reach out to me directly on the link below. Want to learn how to create a supplier qualification transaction? Check out my free video on Panameer.com. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.